If there is one common thing you're going to hear quite a lot about the bike industry in these modern times, it's that the prices of bikes have gotten a little bit insane. It's something that I've talked about several times on this channel myself, and because, they're too expensive. So what are you to do if you are just kind of this average consumer looking for a road bike that doesn't have to cost you as much as a car? Well, luckily, I have found quite a few bikes out there that I think are absolutely perfect for a really consumer-driven market. A lot of what we see in the higher-end bikes really are tailored specifically to high-end athletes and leave a lot of the rest of us behind. So what I wanted to do here today is just talk about a couple of these bikes that I found that I think are really fantastic and are amazing bang for buck. And so really just a couple things to kind of go over of what I think makes a really good consumer-facing bike. One of the biggest things is going to be that it uses a lot of standardized parts, which isn't all that common these days in modern bikes. A lot of things are going to have proprietary parts to the company themselves. Looking at you, Trek. And a lot of other ones are just going to come with parts that can be a little bit more expensive than what these standard ones are going to be. So that's something to consider with a lot of these bikes, that if things like the handlebars, the seat post, the stem, the bottom bracket, if they need replacing, these can all be replaced with very standard parts that you can get for very cheap, even used. So the first one that we are going to talk about here, and this has been a long favorite for a while, the Bianchi Sprint, which at your first glance may not really look like much, but that's kind of what I love about it. If we actually go down here and check out some of the models, I want to just check out this one right here, the 105 12-speed, because I do prefer mechanical group sets. But one thing about this bike is it can run mechanical or electronic group sets. Something we are also seeing more common nowadays is that electronic-only frame sets are kind of becoming the norm. When you run into bikes like this that allow you the options of running mechanical or electronic, this is the way to go because you have such a wide range of options. Some of the other things I just wanted to point out on this one, 27.2 seat post receiver. The headset is generally standardized, but it is a little bit unique, and I've read that sometimes your options for stems can be a little bit limited. Now, one of the few things that I don't really love about this bike is that the bottom bracket is a press fit 86. I'm just not a big fan of press fit bottom brackets for the biggest reason of they tend to creak inevitably. It's just kind of the nature of how they are. One thing I would say on this bike is probably change that out immediately. And that's actually why I'm putting it kind of lower on the list, because while it does look absolutely fantastic and it has some great features like being able to run the mechanical or electronic standard seat post, I don't love the bottom bracket, but it's something that you can very easily just kind of switch out. And it does come in the iconic Bianchi Celeste colorway, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Price of $2,800, also really not a bad price when you kind of think about everything that you are getting with this bike with the 105 12-speed. I haven't ever really seen a confirmation on the frame weight, but things that I've seen about it put it anywhere from between about 900 to 1,100 grams, which is still a phenomenally light frame and would give you a very good canvas to kind of start building a better race bike off of. So honestly, the Bianchi Sprint, I think, is one of the best options you can get for kind of an intro into an actual racing bike. All right, so one of the next ones I wanted to talk about is one of the most common bikes that you're going to see around a lot of places, and that is the Specialized Allez. This has been a long-running favorite for higher-end pros and intro riders alike. I mean, I even still have my 2000 Allez Pro that was my race bike back in high school, and I absolutely love that frame. One of the greatest bikes I've ever ridden. But the Allez is still around, and they're still making it in really great versions. Most places are going to be carrying a Specialized specifically, and you should be able to get your hands on an Allez fairly easily. So that's why I wanted to put it on this list. And if we look at this one right here, the two intro-level models, we've got two options, one with Claris, one with Tiagra. Both are at really great prices. I mean, $1,200 for the Claris model, $1,799 for the Tiagra model. And I do think you can get possibly better bikes in that price range with those group sets on there. But again, the Allez being so common and so easy to find most places is really what's going to put it on this list. We have a 27.2 seat post receiver. We have a BSA thread together bottom bracket, which is amazing. They give you just a threaded bottom bracket shell. Also, this is a really great bike to kind of get as a very first intro into road cycling. and grow into it because it gives you a lot of future-proofed options. Having disc brake wheels with standard axle sizes are going to make sure that any wheels that you want to put on here are most likely going to fit if they are manufactured in recent years. Next up on our list, we are going to be going back over to Italy, and specifically for this, the Cinelli Pressure ADR. Now, the Pressure ADR is going to be kind of a little more of a stripped-down version of their Pressure race frame, and the ADR actually stands for all-day racing, according to them. So what they kind of build this bike as is, yes, it is an aggressive racing frame that is going to put you in a very fast position, but they've also tried to design it around being comfortable at the same time so you can spend those long hours in the saddle. So what I do really like about this bike, they put it right here in the description. I mean, this is when I read it right here that I instantly put this bike on my radar. The ADR, in fact, maintains the signature pure competition handling and feel of Pressure, fine-tuning tube selection, and carbon fiber layup to make it more suitable for long hours in the saddle. But this part specifically right here. These engineering considerations are complemented by a fully integrated cable routing and the use of a standard seat post and fork steerer diameters, allowing the owner to easily install world-leading aftermarket component solutions. Right there. Thank you. This is what I want to see more of in the bike industry. And so when I complain that there is not enough of this, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about frames that are specifically designed to be easy to work on and easy to repair and replace parts on. If we look at a little more of the details, yeah, it's a standard 27.2. It is a press fit bottom bracket, a press fit 86. So again, that's another thing that marks it down a few points in my book. But also, it is compatible with Di2 systems or other electronic systems and mechanical systems, so you can run both of them. Tire clearance is a little low, only up to 30 millimeters, which, I mean, you're still going to be able to get around perfectly fine on a 30 millimeter tire. It's not like anything lower than that is going to be the worst thing in the world. You know, you're not dropping to a 19 like when I first started racing. This is the worst thing ever. We also have really great weights for the frame and the fork. 990 grams for the frame in medium, the fork 420 uncut. Yeah, that's a great weight. You could really build a very lightweight, very awesome bike with that frame set. Just a lot of great options there. Again, tire clearance, it's not the best. It's not the worst. It just kind of is. Next up, a bike I've been looking at for a very long time, and I really do love this one. The only problem that I have with this frame specifically is that I live in America and no one sells it anywhere. This is the Look 785 Huez. So this frame, I think, is damn near close to an absolute perfect package. And this is kind of the same thing we were seeing with the Cinelli Pressure ADR, is that they have designed this specifically for people who want to build the bike themselves and want to build it with their own kind of parts and do a real customization job on it. So it's going to come with all of the hits. It's got a T47 for the bottom bracket in there, so nice and easy. 27.2 seat post receiver, standardized steering tube. Again, we are going to see the cables going through the headset, but it is just such a fantastic looking frame. And I know there's a lot of opinions on white bikes, and I'm generally a person who does not like white bicycles at all in the least. But there is just something about Look frames that I've always really, really loved, that have always just caught my eye. Maybe it's the kind of Mondrian motif that they have to it, or maybe it's just that it, you know, kind of looks like a Gundam a little bit, and I'm just maybe a little bit obsessed with that. Frame weights for this one also very low. I think I've found reports on it being as low as about 900 grams, which is, again, very great start for any sort of build that you're wanting to do on it. You could really do a whole lot with that and get an insane amount of bike. Yeah, so I think honestly, really just the biggest problem is that it is a little bit difficult to find in America. But other than that, this bike is fantastic. I think it's full package. I would absolutely love to own one, but I just don't think it's ever really going to work out just because, yeah, I just can't get my hands on one. All right, next up here, what we are going to be talking about is one that I actually have personal experience with because I own this bike myself, and it has become one of my favorite bikes that I have ever owned, and I was not expecting that whatsoever. What we're going to be talking about here is the State Bicycle Co., the 6061 All-Road Series, and I think this is an absolutely fantastic bike. I specifically would recommend, if you are going to buy this one, maybe buy it as the frame set and either build it yourself or have a bike shop do it. If you are building for the first time, again, I don't recommend doing that, but Hey, if you want to swing for the fences, have at it, Tiger. Join my Discord and I can give you some advice on that. But I also don't really love the sense of group sets they come with. You can upgrade it to the SRAM Apex AXS, which is honestly really cool to get the Explorer group set on there and have full electronic for not that expensive in an upgrade. But if we just take a look at the frame set itself, we're going to see, again, all the classics. A really standard FSA headset, which is awesome. Basic widths for the axle spacing. Does have a BSA bottom bracket shell. It is threaded together. It is a 31.6 seat post, but because it is an all-road bike and it is designed to take a little bit more of that off-road, the 31.6 is going to offer you a little bit more kind of that vibration dampening. But also one of the things that I really love about this bike is it does have major quiver killer capabilities. You can set this bike up as a straight road bike and have it as a road bike, and it will do perfectly fine. When I first got mine, it was set up in more of a road configuration. Right now, it's set up in more of a gravel configuration, running GRX 820 with a massive mountain bike cassette on the back. But you can also go from 700 to 650B wheels and have really good options for tires in between there. It also, again, doesn't route through the headset. It does have internal routing somewhat. It is very simplistic and stripped down, but this could make it a good candidate for that first time that you are building a bike. If you do want to go for it and you finally are thinking you're ready to build a bike, this is an awesome option for it, I should say, because the cable routing is very easy and very intuitive. It's a very easy bike to set up and get on the road. I also do have a code for 10% off anything at State Bicycle Co. So if you would like to get one of these, here's your code right here. You get 10% off. That works for full price items. So yeah, go use that code if you need to. Now, coming up to our final bike on the list, and I wanted to save the best for last because I actually just really kind of looked at this bike for the first time last night. And it was one of the kind of things that inspired me to make this video, was talking about this bike specifically to show you that you can get really top dollar performance without getting shackled into a company's proprietary ecosystem. And so what we're going to be looking at here is the Ari Suncrest. So this is a bike from company Ari. They used to be Fuzari before that. I'm really still not sure what the name change was about, but you know, they still seem to be going. We actually got an Ari Empire coming through the shop the other day for some repairs, and I got to really check one out in person and see the quality of the build. And I'm impressed. When I kind of started to look a little bit deeper at the frame itself, that's when I started to notice what was really amazing about it. They have a claimed weight of less than 700 grams for this frame. Now, as we all know, that claimed weight is going to be based off of like a medium-sized frame or something. So I went ahead and reached out to Ari to see what the weight of the frame would be for my size, which would be an extra large. And that would come in at 737 grams. That is insane. That is a wild, wild frame weight. That is, we're talking superbike territory for sub 700 grams or right at 700 grams. Some of the other great features that I then started to notice: clearance up to 35 millimeters on your tires. So that right there, that was another thing that just instantly shot it to the top of my list. And then finally here, no manufacturing gimmicks. And if we expand this, using industry standard parts on axles, seat clamps, seat posts, and headsets keeps servicing your Suncrest simple and quick. Even with these easy to source parts, we were able to achieve a frame weight that is sub 700 grams. So yes, what that means is this bike has a BSA bottom bracket. It has a 27.2 seat post receiver. It has a standard headset. Hallelujah. Thank God. This is it. This is the bike that I am going to be saving up for. I think this is an insanely good build. And if we look at the build specs, it does come in a lot of different options, starting with the comp at $34.99. This is going to be built with Shimano 105 7100, so that is going to be the newer 12-speed mechanical. But again, this bike can do mechanical or electronic. Thank you, Ari. Did you read my mind when designing this bike? Because it has basically every single thing I want on there. And then the final kicker of this bike that just really sells it in my point, or in my book, I should say, it is sold as a frame set. This just gets better and better for $2,500. Yeah, that is going to be steep for a lot of people, but when you're really kind of looking at how much bike you are going to be getting with this thing, this is it. If you are wanting to actually race and you are wanting to save some money, this is the route you should go. This is going to get you the most bang for your buck and the easiest to service bike that you can get on the market for an insanely low weight, for an insanely good price. I mean, this is just, it blows my mind how good this bike is. This is it. This is my top #1 kind of consumer-facing bike for 2025. But I know there are a lot others out there. There were a lot others that I would even like to talk about. Things like the Orbea Orca in its kind of lower iterations have some really great options. And maybe you know of some other great ones too. So go ahead and leave those down in the comments, or go ahead and join the Discord as I mentioned earlier. I'll put the link in the description of the video and right down here if you want to kind of join or anything like that. It's free to join. I haven't paywalled it or anything because there is a section in there for asking mechanical advice, so I didn't want to paywall that for people who really need some advice. So go ahead and join the Discord. It is free. We talk about bikes and stupid shit in there. And so yeah, that about wraps it up for today. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dobbs, and we will be back with some more content very shortly. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.